Hi, Democrats. Today is Tuesday, August 22nd, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Tuesday. So, I'm not sure how happy I am today, but I will talk about a couple of things. I've been on Twitter for the last couple of days watching Republican after Republican after Republican complain about gas prices and how they're President Biden's fault. Gas prices have risen again, and they are higher than I like. I'm gonna tell you the truth. But what the Republicans are doing are complaining about the gas prices and trying to frame this as if this is all on President Biden. We're not going to get into the whole argument of whether or not a president sets gas prices or not, but I will say this, that in the last legislative session, the House took a vote on a bill that was aimed at prohibiting gas companies from price gouging. And so it went through the House and it made it through the House. But what I will tell you about Oklahoma's legislators is that all five of our members of Congress voted against it, meaning they were okay with price gouging. That's what that means. They voted against putting a cap on price gouging. They all voted against it. Yet they're all on Twitter blaming the president on it. They had an opportunity to do something about it, and they chose not to do anything about it. Hi, Regina. Hi, Dorothy. They chose to do nothing about it. That's just where we are. So do not be fooled by their clever little tweets, their opportunistic tweets, hoping that you don't know any better. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to provide you with information so that you know better. All five of our congressional members voted against putting a cap on price gouging. And so, when I think about that, it's all about this whole self-serving, and double talk, right? So let's pretend like they said no because they were trying to protect oil and gas. Then just say it. And don't complain about gas prices, and don't try to make the president look bad when you had an opportunity to do something about it. That's what I don't like about it. It's the doublespeak. If you believe in what you voted for, stand behind it. Just like when President Biden sends money for a bridge and that bridge gets repaired, don't be showing up there bragging about the money that came to repair that bridge because you voted against it. That's what we have going on. Now, things that, I don't know if it's things that they voted for or stunts, but today the Freedom Caucus announced some conditions they have on raising the debt ceiling. And as a reminder, the debt ceiling is how do we pay off bills that we've already racked up. This isn't about future bills. This is paying bills that we've already racked up. Due to the stunts of the last time it was time to raise the debt ceiling, due to those stunts that the Republicans in Congress raised, all of the stunts, all the tweets, all of the press conferences and all of that, the United States credit rating got dropped. And so right now we're talking about raising the debt ceiling, and they're already out there with shenanigans. The Freedom Caucus has issued demands, and if they're not met, the GOP will drive a government shutdown. Once again, they're threatening not to pay off not to raise the debt ceiling and pay off our debts. That's what they're trying to do. And one of their demands, talking about this, one of their demands is that we defund the Department of Justice. So their thought process is this: if we defund the Department of Justice, then all of the suits against their deity, i.e. their former president, gets dropped. Instead of just letting it play out. If he's innocent, let it all play out and let him be found innocent through the process. Or we can circumvent the process and defund the people who are prosecuting him. And that's the option that the Freedom Caucus chose. And I guess they're like, we are the Freedom Caucus and we're fighting for his freedom, whether he's guilty or not. But that's what they've done. They've decided that they're going to demand that we defund the DOJ. To me, it's just like when I think one of their demands last time was that we don't hire any IRS agents. that we don't hire, we don't make sure that the IRS is fully staffed. And truly, I believe it's one of those, if people are doing stuff that we don't like, let's just make sure their life is miserable and defund them. Now, how does all this play back in Oklahoma? Yes, our gas prices are elevated, but don't be fooled. Our congressional members could have done something about it, and they didn't, regardless of what their tweets say. They could have done something about it, and they didn't. And on the state level, the Oklahoma Ethics Commission, that is the department that keeps campaign finance keeps campaign finance above board in our state. If you run for office, there are rules how much money you can take from whom, what kind of entities you can take money from, how quickly you have to declare that, and how you have to declare that. There are rules, there are laws, it's all written, and there's a whole commission whose responsibility is to update those laws, to train on those laws, and to enforce those laws. Well, Oklahoma has long been defunding the Oklahoma Ethics Commission. My question always comes to, who does that serve? Who decides on the funding? So I'm going to help you. Our legislature decides on the funding for our commissions, our boards and commissions in our state. And so our legislature has declined to fund the Oklahoma Ethics Commission. Do you know who makes up the legislature? People who were candidates who won their campaigns. And so it looks like folks are trying not to be held accountable to campaign finance laws. Or maybe they don't think the campaign finance laws are important. You know what? I'm going to say that. That is the least horrible, is that they don't think the campaign finance laws are important. And so the commission was notified in 2022 that is used to track campaign finance submissions is outdated, and it's so outdated that it's too expensive to maintain. And I've seen the system, and I'm not a systems person, but I'm telling you, it looks like it was built in the 90s. And so it is outdated. It needs to be updated. And you know how it is when you update it for so long and then finally it won't take the updates. That's what's happening with our Guardian system. It won't take the updates. And the company that maintains our system said they're done. They're not going to maintain it unless we rebuild it and do something more modern. But we can't rebuild it and do something more modern because we don't have enough money. There's not been enough money allocated to that commission. The executive director of that gave notice at the beginning of July that she will be leaving the agency. But she's a responsible, decent human being. She gave a future notice, and she's wrapping things up and doing a proper transition. So I'm not trash talking her here, but she gave notice saying, I'm putting enough funds. And now she's out saying, these are the things that were not funded. And I go back to the governor bragging 2 weekends ago about his huge savings account. We have $9 billion in a savings account. Why can't we manage the system that tracks campaign finance? Because we don't want to. And why don't we want to? I don't know. But ask that question. Ask that question. Why are we not trying to track campaign finance? Why are we not trying to make sure that everybody's compliant and above board? And then ask yourself who controls our legislature, because our legislature is who determines the funding. And they've been warned that this commission is underfunded. They've been warned for over a year now. It is so drastic and dramatic that the head of that department quit over the underfunding. So what it feels like is happening is that Republicans, both at the state level and the federal level, just decide, if they don't like something, they just defund it. If we don't talk about it, we don't look at it, it can't happen. And I think that that's how we got in a situation where we have a former president being credibly charged with 91 felonies because there's no accountability. I'm begging for the Republicans to police themselves. Police themselves. Just hold themselves accountable to all the rules that are written. That's all I wanted to talk about today. Guys, thanks for joining me. I will be back here tomorrow at 4:15. You guys have a wonderful evening.